In this video, I want to find the least common denominator for these two fractions using prime factorization and Venn diagrams. And so we're going to first do the prime factorization of 18, and then we'll do the prime factorization of 27. 18 can be broken down several ways. To start off with, I can multiply 2 times 9. 2 is a prime, so I'll circle that. 9 can be broken down further into 3 times 3, and both of those numbers are prime. And so I've gotten the prime factorization of 18. Now I'll do the same thing for 27. Many of us call this a factor tree. For 27, we have 3 times 9. 3 is a prime. 9 can be broken down further to 3 and 3. And both of those are prime. And so we have the prime factorization of 27. Now I'm going to draw our Venn diagram. We have some overlapping. With 18, we have 2, 3, and 3. Now, this 3 and this 3 is also in common with this 3 and this 3. So those 3's will go in the center because they are common with both the 18 and the 27. The 2 for the 18 is uncommon. It only applies to the 18. That other 3 only applies to the 27. And so the prime factorizations are split up for 18 and 27 in a Venn diagram in this way. From here, we look at our Venn diagram, and our least common denominator comes from all the factors, both common and not common with each other. And so the least common denominator will equal 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. And 6 times 9 is 54. And so the least common denominator of 18 and 27 is 54. And so if we were to add or subtract these fractions, we can have the least common denominator of 54. In part B, we want to find the least common denominator of 24 and 30 using prime factorization and Venn diagrams. Let's start with our 24. Now we can break down the 24 any way we want to until we get to our primes. I can say this is 2 times 12. You could have also said 6 times 4 to start with, or 8 times 3. But 2 times 12 is fine. 2 is a prime, so I'm going to circle that. 12 can be broken down to 4 times 3. 3 is a prime factor, so I'll circle that. 4 can be broken down further to 2 and 2. Both of those are prime factors. Now I'll go through the same process for the 30. 30 is 2 times 15, with 2 being a prime. 15 is 3 times 5, with both 3 and 5 as primes. We then want to go to our Venn diagram, which has overlap. Which numbers are overlapped? We have a 2 here and a 2 here, so I will write a 2 here in the overlap. We have a 3 here and a 3 here, so that 3 will be written in our overlap. There is nothing else in common between these two numbers of 24 and 30. And so we want to write their other prime factors in the non-overlapped part, the non-intersection part. And so I have the 2 and 2 left for the 24 and the 5 left for the 30. Now the least common denominator for our two numbers, 24 and 30, is a combination of all of these factors in our Venn diagram multiplied together. And so we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. So I'll multiply these 3 2's together and I get 8. I'll multiply the 3 and 5 together and get 15. And then I'll multiply 8 times 15 without my calculator. But if you needed a calculator, that's okay. This is 40, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 120. So the least common denominator of 24 and 30 is 120. If I were to add or subtract these two fractions together, they would have the common denominator or the least common denominator of 120. In letter C, we want to find the least common denominator of 9/8 and -12/7 using prime factorization and Venn diagrams. And so first I'm going to take the 8 and break that down to 2 times 4, 2 being a prime, and 4 is 2 times 2, with both of those being prime. Then I'm going to break down the number 7, and guess what? 7 is already prime. Now notice I ignored the negative in the numerator. When you have a negative number, it is on the fraction, it is often easier, in this case, to put the negative with the numerator as shown here. So now we have, if you notice, nothing in common with these two. So the Venn diagrams won't crisscross, but if you did have them crisscross and had nothing inside the middle there, that'd be okay too, it would not be wrong. And so we have 2, 2, and 2, and 7 for our 8 and 7. 2, 2, and 2, and 7 in there. Again, there's nothing in the intersection, and so we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 7 is our least common denominator, and so that's 8 times 7. And 8 times 7 is 56. And so the least common denominator of 8 and 7 is 56. And sometimes that's the way it works out when you could just multiply the two denominators and they become the least common denominator. So if we were to add or subtract these two fractions, the least common denominator would be 56.